Now on DotaBoom.gg, you don't even have to make a deposit to open cases, because all new users will immediately get 50 cents on their balance, which can be spent on opening cases right away. Open a multicast case and get the chance to grab 4 skins at one go. Open a multi-fix case and you're guaranteed to get 2 skins at once. Thanks to the reputable, provably fair system, you can be 100% sure that the result will be fair. And by the way, at the end of the event, the best 20 players will share all these exclusive sets and arcana items with a total value of over $300. So pause the video right away, use this promo code and get a 5% deposit bonus, a free case, and extra 50 cents for registration. Click the link in the description, activate the promo code, claim your bonuses, and then come back and continue watching this video.
Hey, what's up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be talking about my favorite hero for each role. The hero I would suggest you guys try learning if, well, you were playing that role. Let's start off with the carry role and waste no time. The first hero is Nature's Prophet. So I think Nature's Prophet carry is absolutely fantastic. Honestly, for the longest time, I thought that this hero was pretty overrated. It was primarily being played as a support with Spirit Vessel and Shard, and while I do love that build, I think it's a ton of fun. It can be really high impact. At the highest level, I felt that often its laning stage wasn't strong enough. However, what I've come to realize with Nature's Prophet, and especially as carry, is that this hero's laning can be exceptionally stable if you abuse Soothing Saplings. So what's really cool about this hero is when you cast Sprout, not only does it heal, but also if you eat the Sprout, including your ally, you get double the Tango duration. This is exceptionally strong, right? You have to think of it as if you were to get max value out of it, which you can do for sure, right? You can just sprout yourself or sprout near you to get a last hit and then eat the tree. You are essentially creating an extra set of tangos out of thin air. And if you use it on an ally, right, if both of you get the value, which you can synergize, and me and my teammates do, then basically you're getting 4 tangos for the price of 2, right? For every single sprout, which is insane. You are generating, what is it? Each tango is technically 30 gold. So you're generating 60 gold per sprout usage, which in and of itself is very, very strong. You can imagine why. The next thing to say is I think that this hero just wants to take the space. The biggest part of the current Dota map is that it's massive. However, the issue with a big Dota map and a lot of farm is that a lot of heroes just can't actually use it. If you want to farm the back corner of the map, you're not going to be able to join a fight. Your team is going to be left, to the wolves while you're hitting, some nice little neutrals as Phantom Assassin or Phantom Lancer in the corner of the map. But Nature's Prophet can access this very bad farm for most of the Dota cast, and it's not a big deal because obviously you have teleport, right? You can join the fights regardless. And so I think the map is very favorable for heroes like Nature's Prophet and Underlord, Dawnbreaker, where there's just so many creeps on the map. But again, a lot of them are inaccessible to most of the cast. And so when you have a Mjolnir, right, the current build on Prophet is Wand 3 branches into Tangos, Null Talisman, Treads, Maelstrom, Mjolnir, and then typically either Dragonlance Pike or just BKB, or Dragonlance BKB, some sort of variation depending on how much you need BKB. After that, really it's just like Mjolnir, Pike, BKB, and then personally, I'm the biggest fan of like Daedalus Satanic, just kind of going full ultra carry mode. But yeah, again, the map favors this hero, and the build is very straightforward. Anyone can play Modern NP. Literally, you max Sprout, then you max your W, and then you take stats. People don't even skill the Treants, which I think if Treants are used perfectly, they are better than stats, but it's a lot of mana and you gotta really know what you're doing. So generally, even the pros take stats. And a big thing about taking stats and having teleport is that stats give health, and then when you teleport, you get a barrier. And this has incredible synergy with Mjolnir. And so you drop your ult, TP in, sprout someone for magic damage, your ulti does magic damage, your right clicks proc magic damage, and your Mjolnir shield, the active, does magic damage, which has incredible synergy with an HP pool, right? The Mjolnir shield, the higher health you are, the more it's gonna proc. And so it's really, really, really good. Yeah, big fan of this hero. You just got to optimize the Mjolnir timing. You have to optimize the tangos in the laning stage. If you can do that, this hero is great. All right, next up for the mid lane is Curveball Puck. Curveball Puck is probably the most obnoxious hero at the highest level, in my opinion, because if you don't have the right heroes to deal with Puck, if you don't shut him down or you don't snowball, there's a good chance this hero is just going to take over the game. Now, what does Curveball Puck specifically do? If you aren't familiar, it's this facet that lets you angle the illusory orb in kind of a weird way. It curves, right? And it depends on like where you click. It's just something you have to get used to. But the big thing about it is not only does it curve, but it also leaves like lingering damage on the ground wherever the the orb goes, and so it lets you one-shot the range creep, where normal illusory orb just doesn't do that. And you might not think of that as significant, but until you have Blink Dagger, old Puck, if it wanted to kill the range creep, either it had to walk up to the range creep and orb backwards, which puts you in danger, or it would have to silence into the wave, which might not seem crazy or like a big deal, but it is. If someone's trying to kill you, the closer you have to get to their hill, which in the mid lane is very scary, the more likely you are to die. And so Curveball Puck makes this hero significantly harder to gank. It also makes it where if you throw the orb at a straight angle, just in a straight line, it goes faster, which is kind of crazy. So this hero is just like harder to avoid the orb, and it's harder to catch. You can even throw the orb, and if you throw it at the right angle, you can TB a base and jaunt back. So there's a lot of things that are just very nasty about this Curveball Puck. It also has this very odd interaction with its innate. I think it's called Puckish, where if you dodge with your E, your phase shift, for instance, a tower shot, which is actually the most common use, you heal. And so what these pucks do is they go up to the range creep in the laning stage, they orb backwards, walk under the tower, or they curveball, walk under their tower, under the enemy tower, dodge the auto attack from the tower, heal from it, and then jump back. So crazy. And so Puck is another one of the heroes where if fully optimized and picked in the right games is absolutely disgusting. Heroes like Puck and Nature's Prophet are super 1v9. You just got to maximize these things. Get comfortable with the curveball, get comfortable using the E, and really learn how to scale, because Puck scaling and talents just are unbelievable. Okay, next up in the offlane is maybe a bit of a sleeper hero for some people, and that is Undying. Certain teams really prioritize this hero. For instance, I think DotaBoom put a high priority on it, and a lot of teams like Undying in general. It's definitely a very contested hero, but I think for a lot of players, they don't see Undying still as an offlaner. They still view this hero as its old support self. But honestly, long gone are the days where this hero can only be played as a support. When it has its level 10 talent, it more than easily two-shots a creep wave at Decay on a 4-second cooldown. Even without this talent, it basically can do that. With the Decay talent, you also farm neutrals extremely efficiently, because you have to understand, it's not only 40 damage, which is the talent, 40 Decay damage, it's double, right? Because that's how Decay works, it does double damage to creeps. So this hero farms very efficiently, it's a very good laner, right? So it has almost no bad matchups. It can sustain through most matchups, because when you decay someone, you get 4 strength, right? And when that 4 strength expires, it essentially heals you. That was one of the major buffs to Undying many, many moons ago. I want to say that was probably a year and a half ago, maybe longer. I don't know. My Dota time frame is kind of off nowadays. But yeah, this hero is an exceptionally stable laner. It decays. The decay gives you damage. You use it to CS and deny. If the enemy tries to go on you, you have Tombstone. If you have a winning matchup, you have Tombstone, and you can kill them with a blood grenade. It's like a kill on most heroes. Like any disable shaman, Rubik, Muerta, plus a Tombstone is a kill on a huge portion of the cast if you decay them a bunch. And then yeah, in terms of items, this hero is actually quite flexible. You can go something like Phase Boots, Bracer, Soul Ring, Wand, Blade Mail, or you can go straight auras. You can go Vanguard into Crimson into Pipe, with then eventually a Blade Mail. Or I've even seen people go Blink Harpoon and really just play to get on top of the supports and be this like complete menace. I've seen 33 literally go, I think it was like, I want to say he bought like Crimson into Octarine. He bought Octarine's second item. Now, I'm not a fan of Octarine's second item. The reason why you would buy it is you do have Decay, Soul Ring, Tombstone, your ulti, and also your innate. So Undying's innate is this really weird ability where every 7 minutes, I believe, it might be 8, you basically respawn for free. And this is even better on core, because as support, it's not that it's not useful. Obviously, it's quite useful to just insta respawn on any role. But on core, it's particularly nasty, because in the late game, what you can do, let's say you're fighting over a very important objective, mainly Roshan. What you do is you bait yourself, you get gone on, you die, and if you have a tower nearby, you just TB back in. All you have to do is make sure you don't panic ult. If you ult and then die and expect to respawn and TB back in and be useful, it's not so good. You got to be careful about that, right? But another thing, last thing I'd like to say about this hero, now that we're moving past the item, just the ability to itemize in different ways, is the hero's ability to create a pressure point. So a big thing for me that makes a strong Dota hero is its ability to create pressure points. Now, what do I mean by that? Can you take the tier 1 tower? Can you take Roche? Can you take Tormentor? Can you force people to have to respect you? Or can they just sit in front of your face and farm the creep wave and not worry about an objective, right? And Undying is such a good objective hero. Tombstone for Torm, Tombstone literally tanks Roche, basically solo. And then if you want to dive a tier 1 tower, this is arguably the best hero in the game if the enemy team can't kill it easily, right? Depending on matchups, of course. And so yeah, Undying is a fantastic offlaner, highly underrated in my opinion. Very, very, very good. And I recommend giving it a shot. Just make sure you take the decay talent. And also at level 15, I actually think that the Soul Rip healing might be better if you're having a game where you want to heal allies. Okay, coming in pause 4, we have Bane. Now, Bane is not your traditional pause 4. A lot of people value this hero more as a pause 5. But I would like to say that I think you shouldn't view support heroes like this really at all. I think it just doesn't matter. You know, it's not like Bane can't do what a Muerta wants to do. Like, what does Muerta do that Bane doesn't? And so it's important not to have that mindset. It's just generally wrong. On top of that, Bane is just one of the most stable laners in the game. He literally has 3 broken laning abilities, typically only skill 2 of them for mana, but you trade with Brain Sap at level 1 or Nightmare, so you trade with your abilities. After that, as the game progresses, what I love about Bane is that you're just kind of always useful. I mean, the thing about this hero is that it's tanky, it's fast, it has high armor, and its spells are just excellent. Really, the main spell to me that I think is what truly sells Bane for me is not what you'd expect. It's not Nightmare, it's not Sleepwalk, even though Sleepwalk Bane is something I do want to cover in a second. Enfeeble is just this nasty, nasty ability. Guys, at max level, it is 1100 cast range without Aether, and this hero tends to buy Brown Boots Wand Aether. That's the most common build, no mana. It is a 270 damage pure nuke, decent, for sure. Cast range reduction, so the enemy can cast their spells less far, by 30%. And it reduces attack damage by up to 70%. At level 1, it's 55. You can abuse this ability in the early game, and I do. Personally, I like going 1-2-1 on Bane. If you really want to try to like go crazy in the early game, you can 1-2-1. And if you cast your spells, if you cast Enfeeble on someone in the early game, they just don't do damage. They don't do damage. Their spells are a lot worse. It's 800 cast range, so you're always going to get it off. I mean, this ability is just absurd. It's just absurd. And at level 10, you have Enfeeble cast range reduction up by 20%. So it goes up to 50%. People can cast their spells half as long. They can cast their Blink Daggers half as long. Their Force Staffs half as long. You know how significant that is? It is insane. This hero's abilities are just ridiculous. Brain Sap's one of the best early game abilities in the game. It's just like effectively a 320 trade because it's 160 heal and damage. So it's just like one of the best spells in the game. Nightmare is a 6.5 second duration, 15 second cooldown. So it's effectively like what, an 8.5 second cooldown if the duration goes off fully, right, on someone, which is ridiculous. And then Fiend's Grip is just Fiend's Grip. I mean, I don't think this ability is like ridiculous or something. I mean, obviously if the enemy team can't respond to it properly, it can feel ridiculous. And yeah, I mean, situationally, there's certain matchups where at level 15, you take Fiend's Grip max mana drain. And this ability, let's say it lasts for 5.25 seconds. It will drain about actually more than 50% of the target's mana. Bane against Medusa is one of the funniest matchups in the game because if you get an Aether, and as long as you don't get hit by Stone Gaze, if you get an Aether and then you take this 15 talent, you just can kill Medusa. You literally deal half of her health more. It's actually more than that. It's probably more like 55% of her health, 60. Insane. And so in a lot of matchups, you know, let's say some Ember Spear goes in and you grip this guy. He's already half mana because he's cast some spells. That guy's out of the fight. And so yeah, I think Bane just has some insane amount of good spells. So stable, right? You just gotta kind of learn to use the Sleepwalk. And if you do, it's one of the best setup spells in the game. So yeah, huge fan of this hero. I think it's just got a bit too much going for it. And it's exceptionally stable. I know I've said that 40 times. Bane is stable, by the way. Okay, getting to the last hero, we have Dazzle. So the reason why I like Dazzle, kind of similar to Bane, is the stability of Dazzle. Now, this is a hero that I've hated on for a while, but I didn't understand how much stronger it is than I used to think. So what did they change about it? Well, first off, we have to talk about Nothal Boon. This is his facet where Weave applies 2 times stacks to allies. So if you don't know what Weave is, it's his innate where at level 1, you give 0.5 armor per stack. So if you cast your E or Grave on an ally, they get armor, right? At max level, it's 1.25, which, you know, is level 18, but even in the laning stage, if you use Shadow Wave on an ally, it gives them an armor. That's a lot. And so when you're casually trading on Dazzle, it always uses Shadow Wave on yourself. And so it just gives you an armor to trade. So basically at level 1, in most matchups, unless you're in some hyper free lane, what you do is you skill Shadow Wave, and if the enemy walks in the creep wave, you heal bond them, or you secure the range creep. When you secure the range creep, you heal yourself, you give yourself an armor. It's only 75 mana, which is literally nothing. It's 800 cast range, which is insanely high, and it's only a 10-second cooldown. So you can just smash out heals that give armor, right? 1 full armor for 10 seconds, which is very, very significant, right? You're just giving armor. And by the way, with DotaBoom, you get overhealing. So if someone's full HP and you heal them, they just get a barrier for 12 seconds. I'm sorry, it's actually better than the weave. You just get a barrier. And so if your team is roshing or going high ground, you can just give them armor and set up a barrier on them by clicking your E very casually. When you max out this ability, 145 heal. When you get your ulti, right, when you get an awful projection where you shoot yourself out, your Poison Touch becomes a Hex, your E gets up to 50% cooldown reduction, which obviously is very good with DotaBoom. You can imagine in the late game when you're giving 2.5 armor per E, and the E is a 7-second cooldown and being reduced by 50%, Shadow Wave has a 3.5 second cooldown, 2.5 armor ability. This ability gets very, very efficient. Now, that's not it. So what I really, really like, and this is why this hero's just been buffed and buffed and buffed, and I kind of just thought about it as its old self, where it was sort of just this like Poison Touch bot. Now it's a heal god. So why is that? Another buff they gave to the hero is that Weave amplifies incoming heals by 7.5 per stack. So let's say you cast your Grave on someone and then you heal them. That target is getting 15% more healing. You also have to keep in mind that for each 10% missing health, if Grave is on someone, let's say it's maxed out Grave, and they are missing 100% of their health, or 99% of their health, it is effectively 90% heal amp. Your spells give heal amp, and then you buy a Holy Locket, which gives heal amp. These things stack additively, by the way. And then you click Holy Locket when they're affected by Shallow Grave and your E, and they just heal the full because of all this heal amp. And so, yeah, this hero is insane. Poison Touch, just also a solid ability. I actually like going 4-1-1 skill build, just because I think Poison Touch is a bit better than Shadow Wave, especially in terms of scaling. I think Poison Touch is kind of just a bad ability until you put points in it. So personally, I am a much bigger fan of casual Shadow Wave. I mean, the ability just gets up to a 400 damage spell. It's actually higher than, I think it's like 416, and you can reapply it, which is really easy to do with Nothel Projection. So I'm a much bigger fan of actually going Poison Touch. But yeah, this hero is just insane. Its abilities are really good. Nothel Boon Facet, nasty. Trading in the lane, super stable. 305 movement speed, quite fast. And so yeah, huge fan of Dazzle. I like going Mana Boots into Holy Locket into Mech, and you just pump out heals. It's pretty ridiculous what you can do on this hero. So yeah, that's going to be all. Those are my top hero for each role, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!